Hey everybody, Crystal here, the Pineapple Picker, and today we're going to talk about what sold from July 27th through August 2nd. Okay, so first we sold a Clarity cordless phone and base. This I purchased at our local thrift store for $1.99, and it sold for $24.99, and I paid shipping on that. Next, I sold a 303 tips for detailing model railroad scenery and structures. So that sold for $9.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. And this I got for free from a place that had a bunch of magazines and books, like little booklets and things like that for free, that I just kind of went through and pulled some things. Next, I sold a vintage L.E. Smith Moon and Stars Colonial Blue glass fairy light, only the top to the lamp. So that I purchased for $1.99 at our local thrift store, and it was just the top, no bottom, and that sold for $15.99, and the buyer paid shipping. Next, I sold a Belique Shamrock covered Fortune's trinket box, and I had a basket weave pattern on it. This sold for $17.99, and the buyer paid shipping. I picked this up with a whole big lot of Belique porcelain, and I paid $60 for like an entire table of Belique. So we're way into the profit at this point, so that's cool. Next, I sold Mastodon, the Motherlode 12-inch picture disc record, and so this was new in package, but the package had been damaged. So I had put read in the description and said what was going on, took good pictures of it. I had it listed for, I think it was $21.99 or $22.99, and I got an offer of $18 and I took it, and then the buyer paid shipping. This came out of a storage unit a long time ago, so this has been listed for a good 8 to 10 months, I'd say. Next, I sold a Hallmark album, Live, Love, Laugh. It was their bigger album. I sold that for $14.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. I got this out of a huge scrapbooking haul where I purchased a whole bunch of stuff for like $150. Next, I sold Target ceramic flower pot planter set of 3. So these are dinosaurs, the T-Rex, Stegosaurus, and Brontosaurus. And I picked these up at Goodwill for $2 a piece, so I've got $6 into it, and they sold for $29.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. Next, I sold a vintage new old stock Wamsuta twin fitted sheet in sea scallops, and this sold for $14.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. I have $1 into this from a bulk buy of vintage sheets that I made a couple of months ago. Next, I sold an Insane Clown Posse ICP t-shirt, vintage, black, green, purple, size extra large, and it did have some fading. So I had this listed for $19.99, and it's been listed for a good while. Again, I think around 8 to 10 months, and I received an offer for $12, and I accepted, and the buyer paid shipping on that. Next, I sold a lot of 36 vintage plastic clothespins, red, yellow, blue, orange. Those sold for $8.99 plus the buyer pays shipping. I purchased these along with a bunch of other ones, so there's this big huge bag of vintage clothespins. Some of them I sorted out and went to my booth, and then these I went ahead and sold online. I held on to a few of them because I thought that possibly in the future I might want to use them as part of a display in my booth. So this makes our money back and then some, because I paid $3 for this big huge bag of vintage clothespins at a yard sale. Next, I sold 3 Johnson Brothers Hearts and Flowers soup bowls, Staffordshire old granite ironstone. So these came from Goodwill. I purchased a whole big set of this for $30, and I've more than made my money back so far. These 3 bowls sold for $21.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. Next, I sold the Fiesta bread and butter plates in turquoise, set of 4 Fiesta ware. I just noticed that this is all lowercase. That's not something I would typically do, so I missed that. Anyway, these sold for $19.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. This came from, I bought a set of, let's see, it was dinner plates, bread and butter plates, saucers and cups and bowls, and I've sold the dinner plates and the bread and butter plates, and I think I sold the bowls. So I paid $40 for all of those. So now I'm pretty well into the profit at this point. Next, I sold Dimensions Laundry Today or Naked Tomorrow, which is hilarious, I think. Counted cross-stitch kit. That sold for $5.99 and the buyer paid shipping. This I purchased for 75 cents at a yard sale. Next, I sold a large 1950s mid-century modern spiral black ashtray with white spaghetti splatter. That sold for $24.99 plus the buyer paid shipping, and I purchased this for $3 at Goodwill. And then one other item that came out of the Balik buy that I made was a Balik small dish shell footed 7th mark gold. So if you don't know Balik, they have all these different marks, and depending on the marks, green, gold, black, and what they look like depends on it's an indicator of when it was made. So it gives you an idea of what year and time frame that it was made. So this one sold for $12.99 plus the buyer paid shipping. That wraps it up for the week. I did go out to a couple of yard sales this weekend, didn't find much, and then I went to an estate sale, and holy moly, this was like a mansion estate sale. I couldn't like justify buying anything out of this estate sale. They were only doing it for one day, and everything was priced at retail. Out in the garage, I had noticed when you went in, you could go in through the garage. So I had noticed when walking in, it said $1 for any items that are not marked. So I said, well, let me go out in the garage, and maybe that's probably my area. So I went out there, and I found some things, some gardening items, some items for me because I just recently started refinishing furniture. So there were some paints and things like that that, you know, I could use for refinishing furniture. And then I ended up buying a rug for our kitchen area that was like 20 bucks, but it was this big, huge rug. So it wasn't a miss, but definitely the rest of the house, it was a huge house. There was tons of stuff, but there was no money to be made. I did take a look at the books even, because sometimes you can score at places like that with books, but they wanted $6 a book or 2 for $10. And I'm talking like just regular books, like nothing special, just regular books. I just couldn't do it. I did get an emailed statement of how my antique booth did last month, and it did fairly well. I think it was $587 in sales. Go over that at some point with you guys. They do mail out a physical copy of a sheet, and they'll send me a check for the difference of what I sold and what my rent is for next month. So we'll see how that does. I noticed that my shirt was a little dark earlier. I don't know if it still is, but I had gone outside for a little while. We have a tropical storm headed our way, so we'll see how we fare through that. Okay, thanks everybody. If you'd like, go ahead and subscribe, hit the thumbs up, leave me any questions or comments down below, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, stay safe. See you next time. Bye.